hundreds of protesters are demanding an end to the violence in Gaza. We'll take you there live and hear from protesters.
Did you follow Taylor Swift from Tokyo to Las Vegas as she flew to watch her boyfriend Travis Kelce win the Super Bowl? We spoke to the student behind her flight tracker account.
And in this week's Trojan Spotlight, we talk with a USC student DJ who performed this weekend in Vegas.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Wilshire Boulevard in Westwood is packed with hundreds of protesters right now. Hi, I'm Vincent Demonte.
And I'm Sophie Sullivan. Let's go live to Annenberg reporter Malcolm Caminero, who has been talking with protesters. Malcolm?
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Vincent. I'm standing in Wilshire Boulevard in Westwood, Los Angeles, where nearly 300 protesters have absolutely shut down the street, calling for a ceasefire in Gaza and for innocent civilian lives to be saved. As you can tell behind me, there's some people protesting, there's some people on top of trucks and cars in a call and response fashion, all in the name of Palestinians. Protesters have been joining in droves with signs saying "Hands off Rafah" and bullhorns chanting "From the sea to the river, Palestine will live forever." We spoke to participants about what the protest means for them.
Thousands of children are getting killed. It's already over 11,000 children. That doesn't make Israel safe. It doesn't make America safe. It doesn't make me safe or you safe. It's just death because of cynical politicians.
One thing is I want people to know what we're out here trying to get. So what we want is, number one, an immediate ceasefire. We want the United States to cut its military, diplomatic, and financial support.
These protests have been happening within the last few weeks, and they are hoping that a ceasefire will come to Gaza as soon as possible. Reporting for Annenberg Media, I'm Malcolm Caminero.
The protests are a response to Israeli forces rescuing 2 hostages after airstrikes caused at least 67 Palestinian deaths. That's according to local officials in Gaza. Israel Defense Forces launched a special operation in Rafah to rescue the hostages. They were taken by Hamas on October 7th. Video shows them leaving in a helicopter on the way to the hospital. Israel describes Rafah as the last remaining stronghold of Hamas and said it may soon target the town on the southern edge of Gaza. Many Palestinians have already fled their homes to escape the fighting. The U.S. is calling for an end to civilian casualties.
As we have said many times, the proper number of civilian casualties is 0. We don't want to see a single innocent civilian death, Israeli or Palestinian. But let me be clear, there can be no enduring end to this crisis until Hamas releases the men and women that they are holding hostage.
President Biden also issued a statement calling for the protection of Palestinian civilians and the reform of Palestinian Authority.
Many voters are concerned about President Biden's age, and social media is a key platform to reach those voters. That means many older candidates have to get familiar with reaching the online generation, Gen Z.
Previously plotting to rig the season so the Chiefs would make the Super Bowl, or the Chiefs just being a good football team?
You get in trouble if I told you.
Trump.
The president took to platforms like X and TikTok to connect to younger voters about topics such as the Super Bowl.
I mean, I think it's impossible, really, in this day and age for any candidate, old or young, to not participate in social media. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to disconnect the concerns about his age with the use of social media per se. And I really think the Dark Brandon meme yesterday, the use of that meme to capitalize on all this sort of controversy.
Presidential candidates are experiencing different levels of success reaching younger voters ages 18 to 29. President Biden leads online approval ratings at 57%, followed by President Trump at 47% and Nikki Haley at 37%.
I agree that it's effective to some extent because that is a large part of where our generation is getting their media and their information from. But I definitely think that it can come off as like disingenuous because it's not really true to what they know, and it seems like they're just doing it because someone behind a camera is telling them what to do?
At this point in the year, I think like last year we've seen a lot of the rise of like QAnon, which actually targeted the older generation. Like I'm talking like Facebook moms, Facebook dads. I think like social media is so polarizing because they say that it's to reach a lot of the younger candidates, like younger audience and stuff. But at this point, they're not doing it effectively. It's not in a manner that makes people want to engage.
In a recent NBC poll, nearly 3/4 of voters are concerned with President Biden's age, while only 48% of voters are concerned about President Trump's. But 61% of voters are concerned about the felony charges Trump faces.
Candidates for Los Angeles District Attorney are taking part in a candidate forum this afternoon.
Almost all the candidates are going to be there tonight. Most of them are going to be there for the purpose of saying they are the opposite of current District Attorney George Gascon. But because it's a forum where almost everyone's present, we'll all get to take a good look and decide for ourselves who's the person we want to elevate to be the next District Attorney of Los Angeles.
Candidates discussed platform points at a debate last week where incumbent DA George Gascon was heavily criticized for his views on crime reforms. The election for the LA County District Attorney position will take place on March 5th.
Tonight, we begin a series of reports on the candidates running for USG President and Vice President. We begin with Juliana Melendez and Clarissa Pulsio. Their slogan, "Imagine a USG you can trust."
I think one of the main priorities of our campaign is seen through our slogan and establishing trust, and we do that in various modalities. We really want to create more of a fruitful relationship with the RSOs that bring so much life to our campus. One thing I would like USC students to take away from our message today is that USG is our biggest commitment. Because USG is our biggest priority, these projects and policies are personal to us because they're personal to you.
Here's more of what these candidates say they will do: prioritize trust, lead with transparency and reliability, and establish clear lines of communication and connection between student government and students. All the candidates will debate tomorrow at 8 p.m. in the Ronald Tudor Campus Center. You can also watch it live on Annenberg Media's YouTube. Voting starts next Tuesday.
A string of seismic events hit Southern California over the weekend, starting with a 4.7 earthquake in Malibu on Friday. Shakes were felt northwest of Malibu at 1:47 p.m. with a depth of 7.5 miles. There are no reports of injuries or damage, but experts warn of the possibility of a larger earthquake in the next few days.
These earthquakes being near a major fault might be a little more likely to be foreshocks. We argue about that as scientists, but the odds are generally any earthquake has a 5% chance of being followed by a bigger earthquake within a few days. But earthquakes are just a little bigger, usually aren't big enough to be damaging.
The possibility of a larger earthquake is small, but authorities remind Angelenos earthquakes can happen at any time and to stay prepared.
Did this year's Super Bowl ads feel any different than other years? We have an analysis of the commercials.
Taylor Swift sent a cease and desist order to a university student who tweets about her flights. We'll hear that from the student just ahead.
The undergraduate student government has kicked off Wellness Week. We'll take you to the first event on campus today.
Let me tell you how we amplify our Latine voices. Check out Dímelo. We have it all. Deportes.
Entertainment. Noticias. ¿Qué tal? Soy Mariela Gómez y bienvenidos a Dime la Hora.
Radio and Podcasting.
Comida y cultura. Digital social media.
¿A qué equipo le vas tú? LA Galaxy o LAFC? Dímelo is the only Latina-focused media outlet at USC. Dímelo. We have it all.
Dímelo. We have it all.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun and easy. Soak your chia, spread the seeds, Keep it watered and watch it grow. And now grow a whole collection of fun with Chia teddy bears, puppies, kittens, rams, bulls. There's even a Chia tree to keep your pets company. Chia Pets and Trees, the pottery that grows.
The Chia Pet and Chia Tree are available at Kmart, Rite Aid, Ames, and Woolworth. Makes a great gift.
Super Bowl weekend saw plenty of celebrities landing in Las Vegas for the big game, including Taylor Swift flying from Tokyo to cheer on her boyfriend, Travis Kelce. Swift was captured cheering for the championship win, but her touchdown at the game sparked controversy over her private jet usage as she travels around the world for work and football games. The singer has traveled a lot in the past week, more than 18,000 miles. This is all public information, and one college student used it to track Swift's CO2 emissions.
Either way, it's still public information, and I'm just sharing it again. And then I think they're just trying to use that as an excuse to hide like the bad information about their emissions. Because like 2 days before I got the letter, there was all kinds of articles about her carbon emissions, and they were like, there was headlines that were like, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are the worst relationship for the planet.
A celebrity climate tracker shows Swift doesn't produce the most CO2. Instead, Travis Scott claims the top spot with over 6 million kilograms. According to The Guardian, celebrities produce a total of over 415,000 tons of CO2 with their private jets. I don't know about you, but I would love some private jet usage right about now. Rack up those miles. What do you say?
He may just be a fiend for that private jet experience. This year's Super Bowl ads cost the most per minute ever, $7 million for just 30 seconds of screen time.
I like it. It's mine. The prices blow my mind. I feel so rich. I feel like a billionaire. I'm shopping with...
Ask, what is Scientology? Here's an idea. What if you just take a look?
With flashier ads and more ideology-based commercials, a public relations professor explains what makes Super Bowl screen time worth the top dollar.
Have so few of these collective moments as a society where not all of us, but a large portion of the United States is paying attention at the same time. Not only the ad and the people in sort of real time paying attention to it, it's all the buzz, the earned media, the journalism writing about it, the amplification through social media, everybody sharing their opinion and moving the content through the stream on it. That is what really the value of Super Bowl is.
In primetime TV, celebrities stand as the face of brands. Pop culture icon Beyonce appeared in a Verizon commercial, blending culture with consumerism.
People are looking to interact with brands. They're looking to use their buying power and invest in something. And if it's something that they align with culturally, then you have them as a consumer. So if you're able to get 3 spots and get people to interact with something that they can get their hands on or purchase or think about, look up on your website, then that's when I think you've really done your job well.
Super Bowl ads remain one of the most valuable spots for advertisers today, with over 100 million viewers tuning into the game. Now, I'm not sure about you, but how much is 30 seconds of your time worth?
Yeah, tell me about it. Man, USG Wellness Week kicked off today with the goal of providing students with resources for their physical and mental health. At an event in Alumni Park this afternoon, students explored various activities, promoting wellness from accessible STI testing to writing a message to loved ones.
The Wellness Fair is a group of RSOs and departments tabling to kind of promote their wellness resources that they can provide to the student body.
Just learning more about the different services that USC offers when it comes to different aspects of health, and I think it's really important to spread that awareness to college students.
Tomorrow, Wellness Week continues with free hot dogs and STI testing in Papa's Quad from noon to 2.
Now, after that downpour last week, I'm hoping Avi has some better news for us. Avi, what's coming up in the next few days?
Yeah, please tell us. We got some more sun on the forecast.
Hey guys, what's up? I gotta be honest, I wasn't too happy about the weather that we've been experiencing earlier last week, but let's cross our fingers for some good weather upcoming. We can take a look at today's current conditions. we can see that we do have a high of 62, which means that there's going to be a sunny skies and a clear day for the Trojan campus. Let's hope that that continues this week by taking a look at our 5-day forecast. Here we can see that it is sunny all throughout the week, a little bit of cloud cover from Wednesday onwards, but we're staying in that mid-60s range, which isn't too hot for the Southern California area, but I'd say it's pretty good based on what we've experienced earlier this February. Thank you so much. Let's take it over to Nolan with the sports tease.
Next up on sports, find out if my co-anchor Will Simonds was screaming in excitement, or was he crying a river while his San Francisco 49ers took on the Kansas City Taylors, Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 58. Which famous actor was at the women's basketball game on Friday? And did USC extend its winning streak? And men's volleyball got revenge on 7th-ranked UC Irvine after the Anteaters beat them on Wednesday. Find out next on ATVN Sports.
Bonjour, je suis le grand musique.
Je suis la jeune fille.
Yes, that's French they're speaking, and no, these children aren't French, they're American. And they've acquired their amazing new language skills from Muzzy, the remarkable new video language program for children developed by the British Broadcasting Corporation. With this unique BBC language course, children learn a second language with incredible ease. 4 delightful videos quickly become their favorite TV show and teaches children the same way they learned English. Learning another language becomes fun. You'll be amazed when your children begin speaking and understanding their new language from the very first day through this unique method. The entire course, 4 videos, 2 audio cassettes, the activity book, and the parent's guide and answer book is available in French, Spanish, Italian, or German.
To order, use your credit card and call this number. We'll ship and charge you $28.08 a month for 6 months. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call 1-800-424-0700.
Okay, this stuff is really amazing. I mean, I put it in my mouth and I taste watermelon, but it's not just that. I taste strawberry too, but it's kind of like a watermelon-y strawberry put together. Hey, hang on. Sorry about that. And the bubbles are really awesome. I mean, that's why they call it Max, I guess, obviously. That sort of makes sense once you think about it. Oh, I'm Dan, and that's Chuck.
Hubba Max. A whole new kind of bubble. Hey!
Can only feel the number of people out there being like, what's going on?
First and goal. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas!
Happy Monday. Well, not too happy for some 49er fans like me. Welcome back to ATVN Sports. I'm Will Simonds.
And I'm Nolan Ezzet. We've got a lot of different sports to cover, but first, the big game. The Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers faced off in Super Bowl 58 last night. The game was at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The 49ers got off to a quick 10-0 start, and then it turned into a defensive battle in the first half. The offense picked up in the third quarter as the Chiefs slowly chipped off bits of their deficit. In the end, the Chiefs came back in a 25-22 overtime victory. The game felt like deja vu because of Super Bowl 54, which also featured a comeback victory from the Chiefs to beat the 49ers. Patrick Mahomes is now a household name, but he has only been a starting NFL quarterback for 6 years. In those years, he has been nothing short of dominant. He's gotten to walk away from half of his starting campaigns with a brand new ring on his finger. Now, first of all, Will, let me offer my condolences to both you and that drenched tissue now. I'd like to talk about the man behind the microphone, Kyle Shanahan of the San Francisco 49ers. Between his time as the offensive coordinator in Atlanta, now the head coach in San Francisco, he is 0-3 in Super Bowls and has been outscored 74-29 in the second half and overtime. Is it about time we start questioning, is he really built for this big stage?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because throughout the remainder of the regular season and the postseason, there's no complaints about him. Is that, the Niners have been to the Super Bowl now, twice in the last 5 years. They've been to the NFC Championship game 4 times in the last 5 years. You can't complain about that sort of production, but it's the second half of Super Bowls where nothing seems to go right. And that's very frustrating. But because the thing is, can you do better than that? It's hard, but you kind of have to live with that, in my opinion, because it's not like you can do anything else, to be honest.
In the regular season, he's incredible, but he just can't get it done in the second half on the biggest stage, and that's ultimately what it matters when it comes down to it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. It's frustrating because, you can't take that kind of record for granted and his ability to get to that spot. I mean, that's hard enough to do in the first place. But finishing the job is a whole nother animal, and it's starting to feel like that's a hump that he's just not going to be able to climb for the time being. So it is what it is, but today is another day. Anyways, USC women's basketball has kept on rolling as it enters an easier part of its schedule. The Trojans easily burned the Arizona State Sun Devils Friday night, 81-63. With Ted Lasso's Jason Sudeikis himself sitting courtside at Galen Center, USC women's basketball is starting to, believe it can make a deep run in March. Freshman guard Juju Watkins had yet another 30-point game, her 8th of the season, and junior center Rhea Marshall added a double-double with 13 points and 16 boards. The Trojans have now won 4 of their last 5. Tonight, Arizona comes to Galen Center, where USC is 13-1 this season. The Wildcats enter at 12-11 and 8th in the Pac-12 after a loss at UCLA Friday. USC is a big favorite as it seeks to stay hot and in the mix atop the conference. So with the Trojans starting to gain momentum heading into the home stretch of the regular season, what are you looking out for this team?
I'm just going to need to see more consistency with the team in its entirety, but really with the big stars, Juju Watkins and Mackenzie Forbes. They haven't been on the same page for a lot of the games this season, but look at what happens when they are. Just last game against Arizona State, they won by 18 points. Both Juju Watkins and Mackenzie Forbes were on the same page. I think that's what they need if they want to take down some of these big teams, especially, of course, in the month of March.
Yeah, I believe 49 points between the two of those in that Arizona State game. It's going to be really hard to beat USC when those two combine for 50 points. But the player I want to focus on is Rhea Marshall, and I've got a cool stat for you. USC, when Rhea Marshall scores 10 or more points, they're 10-0, so undefeated. Wow. When she scores in the single digits, they're 4-4. So in my mind, that makes me think, all right, where Rhea Marshall goes, this team goes. So even though she's not putting up the biggest numbers of anybody on this team, I really think she's a key factor as a third scoring option, and especially in the pick and roll and stuff like that, allowing Juju Watkins to get a little bit more space to be a playmaker, whether it's passing or shooting. I think that could be really big for helping USC make a deep run in March.
I agree, and to your point, especially in March, you're going against teams that have such great depth, and that's something that this team hasn't been able to exemplify as much this season, getting at least Juju Watkins, Mackenzie Forbes, and Rhea Marshall all on the same page, those 3 big players, keep them in for most of the game, and that's a trio that most teams cannot stop.
Yeah, and especially with how good Marshall is on the defensive end, if she can put it together a little bit more on the offensive end, I really think this team can go a long ways. But tonight, game starting in 10 minutes or so. How do you feel about the Trojans' chances against Arizona?
I think there's a really good shot. I think they're obviously the better team. I'm just going to need to see kind of exactly what we were talking about, a continuation from what we saw from Arizona State. I want to see consistency with this team. I want that big 3 to really show the power that they can have when they actually all are in sync together, which unfortunately we haven't gotten to see that much this season.
Couldn't agree more. 17-4 though, not bad.
Not a bad season at all, nonetheless. Now, this wasn't just a big weekend for women's basketball. We've got some news from other teams around the campus to share with you. Men's volleyball took down UC Irvine 3-1 on Saturday. The Trojans were outmatched in the first set 25-12, but they found some momentum and swept the Anteaters in the last 3 sets. Dylan Klein led USC with 17 kills, and Kayla Blanchett had 39 assists. Women's lacrosse is off to a hot start. In its first 2 games of the season, USC took down 15th ranked Army on Friday, 13-9, and Villanova yesterday, 12-11. Off to a 2-0 start on the road, the Trojans are now ranked 15th in the country. They look to get back in action this Saturday with a home match against Hofstra.
And yes, regrettably, we do need to talk about USC men's hoops. The Trojans got rained on in the Bay Area over the weekend as Stanford set a program record with 19 threes Saturday to drub USC 99-68. The Cardinal went on a 25-0 run in the first half to blow the game open as the Trojans fell to 9-15 and dead last in the Pac-12. And finally, some other news. On Friday, USCLA head football coach Chip Kelly ditched the Bruins to become the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. In his place, UCLA hired Deshaun Foster on Monday to lead the program as it enters the Big Ten alongside USC. Foster was a standout back for the Bruins in college and had been the running backs coach since 2017. That's all the time we have for you guys, folks. I'm Will Simonds, and I got to race over to Galen Center for the women's basketball pink game.
And I'm Nolan Ezzet. Now over to Sophie at the monitor.
Usher might have dominated the airwaves during the Super Bowl, but a USC student is making waves of her own as a DJ. Tonight's Trojan Spotlight, next.
Let me tell you how we amplify our Latine voices. Check out Dímelo. We have it all.
Deportes.
Entertainment. Noticias. ¿Qué tal? Soy Mariela Gómez y bienvenidos a Dímelo Ahora.
Radio and podcasting.
Comida y cultura. Digital social media.
¿A qué equipo le vas tú? LA Galaxy o LAFC? Dímelo is the only Latina-focused media outlet at USC. Dímelo. We have it all.
Dímelo. We have it all.
Want quality name brand carpet for less?
Call Empire and you can get quality carpet at the lowest price guaranteed. And no payments for 1 year.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today.
I've replaced your shoelaces with fruit by the foot.
So you did. I replaced your fingers with fruit by the foot.
Bravo. I've replaced your bones with fruit by the foot.
Indeed you have. I replaced your guitar strings with fruit by the foot.
Seems like a step backwards, but alright. I've replaced your DNA with fruit by the foot. That would be end game, my friend.
Fruit by the foot. Fruit-flavored snack.
Now for this week's Trojan Spotlight. Let's check in with Ezzet Johnson with more on a student laying a new track for success.
This week, I talked to a sophomore communications major with a passion for DJing. In this week's edition of Trojan Spotlight, Max Zara tells us about the highs and lows of mixing music for a crowd. Max realized she loved turning tables after playing at house parties in high school. She is open for artists like Twin Sick, Disco Lines, and Xandra, and routinely plays for crowds of over 1,000. She says it's fun, but it's not easy to make it.
I love the atmosphere, the people, and just the environment and music as a whole. And it's so fulfilling when I get to do what I love and I get to meet so many people in the industry and make connections and further myself as a DJ. Something that has been a little bit challenging has definitely been the competition. I moved here from Boston and there's definitely a lot more DJs here, but honestly, I turn that into a positive because it fuels like my energy and just trying to make myself the best that I can be.
Her next gig will be Friday, February 23rd in downtown Los Angeles. It's called A Night of B2Bs, and she will be joined by other DJs.
Well, Rika, what? I don't think I could DJ. What do you think, Sophie?
You know, I have to say, if you want to try, you are in the right place for it.
Totally. Well, thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Vincent Demonte.
And I'm Sophie Sullivan. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg Media. Thank you, and good night.